it's three, data points here, right? So let's take off the blue and the violet and look at, that's the easy one to start with, because you're dealing with flexion extension in every swing. When I started teaching, a lot of the people who were my, they were 10, 15 years ahead of me experience-wise. One of their main source of information was it's called the square-to-square golf swing. You had kind of a neutral grip. You had the club up your left arm like Nicholas at address, and then you had to feel like you curled under. That's what they used to say, to get your wrist flat. But basically, if you just cut to the chase, they were more or less saying, without saying implicitly, that you were going to start with a flat left wrist. You were going to have a flat left wrist at the top. You were going to have a flat left wrist here. You're going to have a flat left wrist here. You're probably going to have a flat left wrist here. Okay, so that book was written in the late 60s or early 70s. So put that over here, category 1, Exhibit A. All right, so number 2, the golfing machine. So I went all the way up to the highest level, and they got mad at me because I was trying to learn more. So I got away. So a couple of the patterns in the back of the book, basically, flat left wrist at address, flat left wrist at the top, flat left wrist halfway down, flat left wrist at impact, and probably flat left wrist at least somewhat through the ball. If you could do that, and you can, I've done it, it ain't that easy in a full swing, but it's doable. This green line goes straight across like that. That's what you're looking at. So for the people who have never seen one of these graphs, maybe not just I'm sure we have users, and then we also have folks interested in the product. Address, the top of the swing, impact. So that top to impact's a lot shorter duration, and that's another metric in here. And so this is basically saying 20, 40, so 30, let's say 28 degrees. This golfer is like 28 degrees extended, right? And then goes to, if you wheel it, you can take the little thing and it starts up here 28, and then somewhere in the middle, a little bit of a noisy swing, 15. So mid-back swing, this golfer is flattened his left wrist, moved toward flat, halfway somewhat between as bent as he was at address. That's 28's like mine. So that's a mid-body kind of Ben Hogan, kind of mid-body hands, Roy McIlroy. And then like he's on the way to flatten it somewhere time-wise, not distance of the swing, but time-wise, this is time on the bottom, halfway into the downswing. And then what I not only see with good players a lot, not everybody, but I'm just saying, and I personally do in my swing, is as we go toward the top, you're going to move back toward extension. So, and then he gets to what at the top, even more than he was here, right? So he's at the top, move it down right here, so 30. So he started at 28, so he started with a certain amount of bend. He flattened his wrist, halfway to totally flat. So why does that guy not, I'm sure it's a guy, why it's not flat the rest of the way? Why, Brian, what do you think it should be? So to me, when you turn the corner here, you this way in the backswing, basically the club, English language translation, not that this is English, New Orleans, Chalmette, Yacht, you're flipping the club upside down, and then you're going somewhere from there. If you're hitting a little 50-yard wedge shot, that might be it. But on a full swing, what I like to see the club not keep going back that way, which is very popular now, but start going this way a little bit and point more toward the target. Me and Mike Jacobs did our thing last night, and I had a slide. Didn't get to, but at the end, I just flipped through all my slides, and a couple of people here. And there was the top 5 money winners of all time, and everybody, if you drew a line at the top of the swing from the butt of the club straight down, it was pretty much right between their elbows. And this is very popular nowadays, and I could give you a half an hour on that, but not. So this is a very common and I think very orthodox movement. Somewhat flatten your wrists, then take a little bit of that out. He takes more out than I do because, as you see, he goes through the top, extending the wrist. So what he's doing, because he obviously probably figured out that he's a down archer, a down flexor, right? You know, golfers who go woof. He figured out, you know, if I'm going to do that, it works better if I don't have it flat at the top, because from there, if you down arch it however much he does from whatever that is right there to there, if he started right here, he'd go up here and you'd never get out, okay? So what he did was he went to 15, took half of it out, and then start working it up. And then at the top, we go to the top, now it's 20, 30 at the top, more bent here than it was there. If you think it looks like that on video, I'm going to stand up on this chair and jump up and down like everybody thinks I do all the time anyway, and tell you you can't see it on video. I've got really high-end fixed cameras in my studio, and I've been doing this for too long, and I can tell you, okay, that's the gentleman or lady that's calibrated their hand at 0. Surely I can tell that they cupped it 30 degrees. No, you can't. You would go, you know, you draw your little lines in your line drawing program, and I use JC Video, which is a great product. Might see 5, 10, maybe 15. 30, no chance. So visually, you're just not going to see that it was that much. And this golfer goes up until, where's his peak? 36. So he started with his wrist bent. Half took out the bend. Bent it more than it was at address as he went to the top. And then started down and added extension. He added extension. That's what this person's doing. Now, mid-downswing, right here. They ain't hitting this ball down no fairway and playing on no tour with, what is it, 30? How, what, 36? 36 degrees right here, right? 36 degrees, cupped, extended, whatever you want to use, bent, golfing machine. And then this big ramp up, this big down twist, this big move, all the way down to 0. Right where they calibrated, right here. And then where that is in the swing right there is probably like this. You can see, so just eyeballing that. It's a little late for me, but so maybe like this. And then, because
for you is the fact that he went flexion late.
So I call it the bottom of the bottom of the check mark. That's my new one. I was calling it a valley because it's not really a peak, I guess, if it's upside down, right? It's not. This is a peak and that's a valley, but it looks like it always looks to me like a check mark. So this is the bottom of the check mark. So the bottom of the check mark in this golfer is, you know, I mean, you're hitting a ball off of a ground, or or the wind's blowing 5 miles an hour in your face. I'd probably do worse than that. So, but anyway, the point is, what does he do when he gets to the bottom of that V, which is about right here? He goes, woof, to all the way up to, where's that number up there? 70, from 36, cup, to 0, to here, 0, and then 70, which I have to name it something because I'm that guy that names everything. The flick, it looks like a flick to me in this amount of time if you do that, which means the club head goes faster. So the last thing in the world you want to do, in my opinion, through impact on a full shot is hold any flexion or extension or flatness or whatever the heck you want to call it. Just never, under no circumstance. So to me, okay, what would I like to see with this guy? I would say if he controls this move, this severe down cupping. Obviously, Hogan did that some. It's in the record books, and you know, if he walked through if he if he came back and walked through the center aisle, that thing, there'd be 40,000 fainted people real quick. So you can obviously do that when you're playing good, but I promise you, if this was a little less up, then this would be a little easier to time. But you don't know. That might be his best pattern. But to me, that's very orthodox. So I go to the blue. Oh, wrist cock. So we'll just go blue only. I like this. This is what I call a flat top. Scott likes to name things. I like to name things. This is a flat top right here. I like flat tops, you know. Used to look good on me. Now it would look ridiculous. I used to have a flat top. Jason can get away with it. So what this golfer did, 28 degrees, uncocked, all in the deviated, 28 degrees, and then obviously kind of flatlined away from the ball right here. So, okay, what this golfer actually does, look, he's got a little, so 28 and he goes down to what? 31. Okay, I don't like this. Really don't like it in putting. That's why I putt with one of these now, you know. But I'm better at regular putting now. You'd like it, David. So what he's doing is basically thumb downing 2 degrees in the takeaway. So when you see folks that are, you know, they're trying to keep the arms out in front of them, all these crazy words, and they just never quite get the club head to go through their hands. Not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying, let's say that's what you want them to do, and they can't do it. It's like you can hold them up there and trick them, put some device, pull a plane stick or a plane board or something. They feel like they're doing this because the club is so much lower because they on the deviated too much. This was only 2 degrees, not the end of the world, right? So, but I like to see a flat line here, and then when you start adding wrist cock, like he does, you know, right here, it's a nice even little ramp up like this. So he gets the 31, and then so basically he was at 29, 28, and then he went flat up here to 11 and 11 and 12. So more or less a really steady through the top of the swing radial and ulna. So this golfer, go ahead and put the green back up, is this green going up, he's adding extension and flatlining his wrist cock through the top and out of the top. Thank God, because if he was doing something funny here and something funny there, he better putt like Brian Gay. So that, to me, I like that. Now, there's a guy, I've never met him, but he's actually in New Orleans now. Michael Blade, African-American gentleman, seems like a real, really wants to learn and gung-ho on teaching. And he said, hey, Brian, if you can you do something on the radial and ulna swing? I'm thinking, I don't even know what that is, but hey, sounds like a first hour of 360 on a Sunday morning when I need something to do. So I did. I posted that up. So if anybody wants that, so I did all kind of crazy tests, which I'm good at. But there's no tour for that. I'm not bragging, but I'm just saying, everybody who gets a device, I don't care if it's a TrackMan or a Sam Putt Lab, whatever, you should not just make your swing all the time. You should be able to duplicate the people that you're trying to fix swings and all sorts of other things. So you never know what you're going to learn. I learned something pretty much I think I would have been able to guess on a multiple choice test doing that thing. So basically what I did was I did swings where I tried to add wrist cock. I did swings where I purposely tried to take the wrist cock out, and then I made my couple versions of my regular swing with the club going different ways at the top. And what I found out was, hey, if you're actively or either radial or ulna deviating, you will probably do less of this. So this flat line right here probably keeps this from being cuckoo. Because God only knows what would happen if he was adding wrist cock and adding, which everybody thinks Hogan did, maybe the hell he did. But that's why nobody's swing looks exactly like that. But that's what it would look like this, and this. And this added wrist cock really wouldn't make the club look like it was laying down. But a little, so this golfer's actually going this way at the top, and when you start bending that left wrist this way, it tends to make the club go away from laid off. So as you make that move, it's going away from laid off, and he's not adding or taking out any wrist cock. And then you got to get out, because you don't get out, you ain't going to hit it. So somewhere in here, pretty tied together with his down arching, he's uncocking his wrist or on the deviating his wrist, and he gets it about, so we started at 28, and where does he get the valley to right here? To 20, 28, 29. So that's pretty recommended for my money. You, wherever you start, not that I want you to draw a line, do not do this. And if anybody says I told them this, I'm mad at you. I want the graph, the bottom of this graph to be about where this is, or maybe 1 degree less uncocked, or all the deviated. The body may be in a different location. It might not, the club shaft being on exactly the club shaft it was on at address. Not big on that. But what I like to see, if you can zoom this part in right here, is I like to see the valley, the bottom of the check mark of the flexion extension. So when the flick starts, not saying when it goes to the other side of zero, when the golfer has maxed out this flexion and they start adding extension, right there, I like that to happen before the bottom of the wrist cock valley. Because these motions are somewhat tied together. There's a word for that y'all use. Coupled, somewhat coupled. I hate the word couple. No big deal. Every now and then you get a word, you know, you associate with bad things. So, but when this starts happening, you'll get some coupled motion of the wrist start recocking. So what that's saying is the golfer got like this, and then, you know, because they landed the plane, that's what all of this is doing right here. This action is uncocking, is getting this club down. If they didn't uncock and they still rolled the same amount, they'd miss a basketball. So you have to uncock down there. But if you uncock to more than you were at address, the likelihood is you're going to be, standing the club up, early extent, whatever. Not saying you can't play that way. I'm saying I don't like it. And then, just a nice little, I like this to kind of look, I like it to recock about the same as it, I like the two lines of the uncocking and recocking to kind of look somewhat similar. So, anybody got a question on that? Yes, sir.
You don't want to see the club more ulnar deviated at impact than you do at set.
Not on this device. I haven't seen any reason to do it. I'm not saying some other way to measure it might not. Oh, hey, where's that ball at? Capture one. We ready to go? Hey, how about that? I'm gonna slice it a little bit for y'all. One day they're gonna walk in here and they're gonna see that divot and they're gonna go, "Who the hell?" I thought that was okay swing. Let's blow it up and see what I got here on this Stevie ball. Ooh, yee. Well, okay, no golf ball there, but right, so there's a real sharp, valley there to my, but timed correctly, for me, my money, Scott might have a different idea. The valley of the start to go that way and start to go this way, green then blue. It was a wiffle ball. Not terrible. Okay, purple. Interesting, right? So, I don't even really, I can give you much more technical on the other two. I've captured more swings that way. This rotation number's newer, right? I was an early adopter. But I will tell you this. So I've got two little versions of my golf swing that I make. One where I flip the club upside down and I just keep going that way. Okay? And club gets, I don't get it to parallel for many, many reasons, some of which include pasta. And that's one backswing. And then another backswing, the one I just did, I get it like this, and instead of going this way to the top, I get it between my arms. When I do the one where I let it go between my arms, which is somewhat like that golfer we were looking at, I am actually adding this global rotation through the top of the swing. If I hit another one, not worth doing, and I made same swing, just it would, the global rotation sensor, which is, so when it zeroes out, y'all correct me on this now, you guys, it zeroes out, you don't calibrate that, it zeroes out at first take back. As soon as you start that club back, that's zero for this thing. Now, check this out. Take the blue and the green away. So it was zero at address, as soon as I started the club back address, right? And then at impact it was, well, zero or just a little bit. Yeah, zero. Not probably what you want to do in a regular golf swing, my opinion. Most people I've seen, worth a darn, that's more open at that point. For a variety of reasons. Could be more closed. So here's an easy scenario. Super mid-body hands, you can see where this thing is pointing, and then impact of an inside-out swing. Put it that way. What if you bore like Nicklaus hitting a one iron straight up in the air? You started like this, and then you did this, so it could be on the other side. But what I see is mostly 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees more. This sensor more open, and I'm sure y'all see something like that. How am I doing on time?
I think you're doing well. If there are any questions, then it's some last 15 minutes.
Right.
Yes.
How you do the calibration for the rotation? Is it additional?
It's done at address. Good. So
there's no additional calibration, so this one is the only one you perform, and the rotation it always
zeroes out.
difference from your address point. So that's how we do it.
Okay, so you put the player in the address point, at this point you calibrate.
No, you don't have to do it specifically. So once you will do actual swing, it will understand where's the address and calculate the rotation relative to that orientation where you were at address.
So you consider zero the impact position.
No, the address position.
So let's what I give you a quick example. Can we capture one real quick? I'm gonna hit like a bunker shot. Tell me when. So just so you know how I hit on standard bunker shots, just for it's an extra penny of information right here. I've always done it this way. When I went to see Ben Doyle in 1987, it's the only thing he didn't change. That means everything else went. I just grip it like this, and then I open the club. I don't open the club and grip it. So who cares? Try it if you're a bad bunker player. You'd be surprised. But the reason I'm showing you that is I have to do this with the sensor. That's why I was, showing you. The sensor is going to be like really open compared to my regular swing, and I'm going to just hit like a bunker shot, right? So when you go to the chart, it's still zero because it's wherever it is. Okay, and so look at that. So that's interesting, right? This is me hitting what I think would have been from here to the wall in the air, 60-degree wedge, trying to make a crab to the right, like a real cut bunker shot. look what I did with my Flexion Extension. I actually cupped it a little bit, which you would think I would probably do, but not that much. Flat line through the top. Added some, went toward, never got to zero, went toward flexion and took it out nice and pretty. Did the same thing with my wrist cock. Added some wrist cock, held it through there. That's why I'm a good bunker player. That's a damn good graph for picking up a 7-iron in front of a bunch of people off of carpet. That'd be a good bunker shot right there. Probably. I topped this thing into the wall, but I'm telling you, a bunker would be pretty good. All right, we got a bunch of people, man. Come on, let's ask some questions. Let's go.
I'd like to see the rotation speeds at on the speed of the rotation.
Oh, so go to the, yeah. So to me, okay, so a couple of things I didn't cover. I'm sure the other guys probably would. One very interesting and important and simple to you. Everybody, I think, somebody asked me this question yesterday. Why do you think the force plate industry, pressure mat industry got so big so fast? I mean, it still kind of seems to be growing. And I'm not the biggest, I'm just saying, not one way or the other. But God bless everybody that uses them. But the point of the matter is, because especially the center of pressure, like Swing Catalyst got pretty software. I mean, my mom's 89, she never swung a golf club. I'm sure I can get my mom up there to do like this. Like it's nothing. Don't think she couldn't swing harder than that. She'd hurt you. But the point is, no, that's a good little chip shot. Leave that up there. That's good. So the point is that I'm trying to remember what the heck I was saying. Thinking about my mom. So
Rotation speed.
Rotation speed. So the easiest thing in the world to look at on a pressure plate is a nice, pretty center of pressure thing going around. Doesn't confuse anybody. My mom on her first wedge swing. This isn't confusing anybody either, and you get this every swing with this device. You get the timings. You get the length of the backswing, sensor reversal, right? That's so everybody wants to know where change of direction is here. Sensor reversal, and time to the 100th of a second downswing, and then a ratio. And I'm telling you now, I used to think, guys like David have been around forever. You've heard this thing, like if you've got like a certain speed, like 1.2 seconds, you should hit 1-foot putts, 1.2 seconds, and 40-foot putts, 1.2 seconds, and long bunker shots and short bunker shots, and 2 tee shots that go 300 yards, and 50-yard 7-iron shots that you flip over a tree in a junior clay. No. I made David have like indigestion just now. No. And you will find this out easily with this device, but in a normal golf lesson where somebody's got a 6-iron in front of them and they're making a swing and you're saying, that one just, I want you to, a lot of times I'm trying to get people to go a little faster in the backswing. This isn't that complicated, and it's there every time. And I tell you the ratio's very important. Like I have like a 3-to-1 or something like that. Okay, so a couple other little metrics. This is rotation. Not a big P guy, but it takes up less space on the graph. So P6, P7? Yeah, P7's impact. So 6 is about shaft parallel. So that's telling you how much the sensor is rotating from, so if I'm, where's that goofy ball at? Thanks. Let me just whack a regular shot real quick. Need a portable net. Fred Couples. So this 84 degrees, this sensor rotated from shaft parallel to impact, 53 degrees from impact to first parallel past the ball. And then that usually adds up, what's that magic number? I forget.
There's no magic.
I know, but there's a...
Around 120.
Yeah, right, yeah. There's a lot of rate of closure stuff out there in the world, God bless all the rate of closure people. So you see something, rate of closure of the sensor, right, on both sides of the other. And then this is the sensor rotation speed at impact. I don't know if you would want to waste a second trying to Brian Manzella swinging pattern 13C on the internet, but I got one on Postmodern Golf with an airplane, you know, flying the Jacobs 3D plane just to show you what the airplane looks like in a swing. I don't really look like I'm like super flipping, you know, super closing, super spinning. It's pretty neutral, you know. It's 1,587 degrees a second right there. So this idea that you can kind of like zero this out some kind of way is erroneous. So I use those, not as much as the grass, but a decent amount. We got time for a few more questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you've had some hours into this. I had a conversation last night where like 3 or 4 people were arguing about grips and
Yep.
if this guy does this, I do.
Yeah.
Back and forth. So can you give us a quick example on how you would maybe mess with a grip based on what you see, or have you made any grip adjustments based on this technology or anything? Does that seem to be
Okay, so good. Okay, reverse engineered. I'll explain. Here's one for you, Dave. So I have a junior golfer, really good, local. I think he got a chance. He's got the mentality, got the body, speed, all that stuff. Doesn't choke. You got to hit the shot on the green or you die. It's going to be a good swing. You know, that's a good quality, right? So he's friends, one of his best friends, a tour caddy, who was a really good player. And he's got all these damn putters like, you know, David Orr's got. I mean, you know, I know they had that picture of Immelman's, but I'll guarantee you David's got, you know, circle T's coming out of his gazoo and, you know, handmade everything. They bring in like 20 tour putters. They're all pretty much the same specs because the guy, it's the caddy's putters. They're all like the same length and they're about the same lie. And I'm looking at them, I'm going, Karsten Solheim probably wakes up every day in heaven and goes, boy, I made a lot of money for people with this putter, right? Because they were all pretty much answers. And I don't know, which one you think I ought to putt with? Well, not that one you putt with because you can't putt with that thing. So let's putt the other 19 putters. Putted 19 putters with HackMotion on. Numbers were significantly better with one of them. Guess what? There's your putter, bruh. Guess what? Stole his putter 6 months later. He's won like 3 or 4 tournaments with it. So there's a way you can use the device to like club fit. I didn't change anything. He's making putting strokes on a damn carpet in my house, in my studio in the sky. So there's one way you can do it. 2, you're thinking about a grip change. See, I wouldn't look at that and go, I think the grip needs to be strong. I think your grip needs to be stronger in the left hand and more, more across the, more 90-degree fingers. So I make that change. If this thing goes haywire, man, I better have a damn good reason to stick with this. To me, what devices like TrackMan and probably force plates and definitely HackMotion, which is why I'm here today, do for a teacher when you use them is it saves you a ton, with another word in front of it, of time, because you can find out, look, if anybody thinks there's a device that tells that guy right there with that nice looking TrackMan golf hat, I like that, hat on, what to do, what is the perfect pattern for Mike Daly going forward with his golf swing this year, they're nuts. That's the art of it. And devices like this, once you get comfortable with what really is good numbers and not good numbers for whatever it is that you're teaching, this can save you a lot of time, because if you make that grip change and this thing goes haywire and the TrackMan numbers go haywire and everything goes haywire, or even just the wrist graph went haywire, I would get super nervous. I wanted to say one more thing. Can we put up, because I know I'm probably right on time, right? Okay. See if you can find a tour player with just start switching through some tour players, and I want to find out what I call a double hump, which would be this thing going down, up, and then back down. Nah, good. No, clean as a pie. If the graph looks clean, it's probably good. I know Scott, part of his presentation, I was reading his stuff. He said he likes a little bit of organized chaos. You got to play the tour. You got 180 mile an hour ball speed. You can't you got to probably have a little organized chaos. So you look at pitch shots. Okay, but let me just tell you what we're looking at here. So this is a what? Mid-iron PGA Tour player. Okay, so he started to flatten his wrist some. He's going to the top, right? He's probably not laying it way off. He's going to the top. He's taking some of that flatness out. And then he starts to, before he gets to the top, see this line's going down, he's starting to go toward flexion. And then he goes all the way to the bottom of flexion, and he somewhat flicks out of it. Okay, what I call a double hump, I get very nervous in a lesson when I see him because, oh God, I got to work now, is this thing went down, and then somewhere in the middle, it went back up again for a little while. Then it went back down and went back up again. It's 0.2 a second now in a downswing. You start going, I'm not signing off on that. No, we're going to take that out of there. Now, I'm not saying there's probably somebody with a double hump that's in the top 30 or 40 players in the world, but it probably looks like there's something funny in there. You could have this line going up at the beginning. You could have it going down at the beginning. You can have it going flat at the beginning. But you don't want it to start going down, then go up again, and then go back down. It's just too much chaos for me.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much for listening to me jump up and down.